On the menu today is a crowd-pleasing curry pilchards. My ingredients for the day are tomatoes, pilchard either in tomato sauce or in chili, Irish potatoes, onions, vegetables oil, spices, and spring onions. Be sure to check out the description box for a detail and description of this recipe as well as measurements. Hello everyone, my name is Becky, and in the next few minutes I'm going to demonstrate and show you how I make a very simple, quick, delicious meal which is cost effective and budget friendly for lockdown. I'm speaking of course about curry pilchards, popularly known in Namibia as blikkie fish. So stay tuned, we're gonna start right away. So you want to start off by sweating your onions, and these onions are cut into very thin slices as you can see here. So you want to use everything. I've used one full onion, so I have to put it in there and then allow it to sweat off a little bit. So you're going to do this on medium to low heat. When you are sweating onions, you do not need to put the heat very high because they'll burn, and allow it to sweat for around 5 to 10 minutes. I'll be back. So halfway into the cooking process, you want to open up and just stir a little bit, just to stir it a little bit, and as you can see it's starting to become soft. So the onions are done, and what you want to do is just gather them to one side because I'm going to add some tomatoes on the side, and I like using ripe red tomatoes for this because then you don't need to add packet soup. The tomatoes thicken up and make their own soup. As soon as I'm done putting the tomatoes in, I introduce the spices, which is kapana spice, curry powder, paprika, mixed herbs, and one African ghost chili. Now if you are having kids in the house, I always encourage you not to use this one, but if you're not having kids in the house and you like chili, you add it. So for me, I'm not going to add it, so I'm going to mix my spices together, and then I'm going to pour them over the tomatoes and onion. Once that's done, I'm going to mix. So now you want to continue cooking the onions and the tomatoes so they can develop sort of like a sauce, and I just want to taste. So guys, I honestly do not like a lot of salt. I think this is fine, but if you like putting more salt in your food, you can add it on a later stage when you've tasted how everything tastes like. But for now, I'm just going to close this one with a lid and allow it to cook for another 5 to 10 minutes, just so the tomatoes can thicken up and make a sauce. Let me just bring this closer. You see, so amazing. So the tomatoes are becoming softer. You can see they've made a little sauce on the side, and this is what you want. You guys, this is a very easy and cost-effective meal. You know, you use most products that are already available in your fridge or in your pantry, guys, especially during this lockdown where sometimes you just find it hard as a parent or as a mother to decide what to cook for your family. So I have to make with what I have. So you can see this is a very nice sauce that's bubbling here. And that's why I say I like using these ripe tomatoes, because they just bring and thickens the sauce. You can see there how the sauce looks like. You don't need to put packet soup. The tomatoes have already thickened it. The next step is to add your potatoes, and I've got here 2 large Irish potatoes. I love Irish potatoes because once you cook them, they still remain intact. And if you want to prepare a filling meal, you know, for your family, and you know that you're not sure if the food will be enough, just add more potatoes. Believe me, it will be enough. So just check this one out. So I add the washed Irish potatoes. I've cut them in semi-huge chunks because I still want them to remain intact when they cook. So now I just mix. The good thing about potatoes, you guys, is if you have a salty dish and you want to desalt your dish, just add potatoes. Potatoes have an excellent way of extracting salt from the food. So and besides, they're just so filling, you know. Add potatoes to a dish, then you know that even the neighbor who didn't make an appointment to come, there will still be enough for them. So at this point I'm going to add a little bit of water, but I don't want to add so much. Just want to add at least round about 2 cups, just to allow the potatoes to cook. And you want to add water to a level of just at least when the potatoes are just a little bit covered, but not entirely under the water. And then I'm going to continue steaming this on low to medium heat for around 20 minutes. It's always nice when you are eating your curry fish to be able to pick out that potato chunk and not try to gather small bits of potatoes that have been mushed, and yeah, it's not pleasant. At least that's how I like it, and that's my opinion. So yeah, just going to cover and steam this for around 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back. So after a few minutes, you can see there that sauce, it's still in there, and the potatoes are still almost there. So guys, when you are making this meal, just understand that if you have a lot of mouths to feed, you know, using potatoes is the best way, because potatoes are so filling. And then you just have to either add extra rice, macaroni, you know, you can have it with herero bread, witbrood, brain brood. So oshifima, you can have it with that too. You know, oshifima is another word for pap. So it's your lekker ding. Yeah. I'm dancing to the meal. At this point I want to bring out the pilchards, and honestly you can use any kind of pilchards. I like using the EFUTA brand that's made in Namibia. I like using the EFUTA brand, but if you have Lucky Star, which is the original Pilchards that we've known since childhood. You can also use that one, but yeah, I like using the EFUTA brand. And guys, Pilchards are already pre-cooked. The bones in the pilchard will do nothing to you because they are cooked on high pressure and they are super soft. So if you like, you could actually just move the pilchard like that and then scrape off the bones in there. But for me, I don't have any issues with the bones. I just like at least to divide the fish like that, just with my wooden spoon a little bit, to divide it in just smaller pieces. But it's completely optional. Yeah, and remember, I'm doing this because when I add it to the sauce, I don't want to move the fish around too much, otherwise it will break. So at this point, dividing the fish will allow me to just put it on top of the potatoes, and the fish will be cooking here on top of the potatoes. So this is how it's going to be. I'm just adding it there. As you can see, I'm just adding it on top of the potatoes. For me, there's no need to add tomato paste. As you can see, the sauce from the pilchard is already so concentrated, you know. There's honestly no need, and besides, there's already tomatoes in it. Less is always more for me. Yeah, and you close it with a lid and allow it to cook on super low heat for a few minutes, and then we're gonna come back and check it out. So I remember those days at varsity where I used to live on my own in a flat, and yeah, this used to be my go-to meal. It will take me through 3 or 4 days ahead, and I remember that I used to budget on tinned fish. Actually, those years in the old hostel at UNAM, most students used to prepare this meal as their go-to economic student type of meal. If you couldn't afford to go eat at Mr. Cool, or you couldn't afford to go eat at the Independence Cafe, you know, you cook yourself a meal, and it was usually tinned fish with potatoes or boerewors, and then you eat it with bread. So if you are a student and you are looking for a very cost-effective way, as well as a healthy way to sustain yourself during your varsity life, during this lockdown, or when you are broke, this is the go-to meal. And besides that, it's quite delicious, guys. It's quite delicious. And you can still see that the pieces of pilchard are still intact. Right here, I've got spring onions, and I'm just going to sprinkle the spring onions over. It makes the dish looks just extra. Our curry is done. Our pilchard curry is done. We can serve it with rice, bread, macaroni, you name it. So guys, until I come your way next time with something delicious, be kind, be happy, be loving, take care of your families, and most importantly, have fun in the kitchen. Remember to check out some of our videos in the screen at the end of the video, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll get to you as soon as I can, and I'll also help wherever I can. So from me, Sizzles Berries, bye besties.